MACAN. My name is Ninjani, Curator of Education and Public Programs, and I'm going to be the MC for today. So thank you for joining us this afternoon for Somewhere, Elsewhere, Nowhere, a conversation. This talk is held in conjunction with the launch of the exhibition Isabel and Alfredo Aquilizan, Somewhere, Elsewhere, Nowhere, which is the artist's first ever major museum survey show in Indonesia, presenting key works from over 20 years of collaborative practice. So in the next 1 to 1.5 hours, you'll hear directly from the artists, Isabel and Alfredo, on their ideas and themes behind their practice. And joining us for this discussion is Alia Swastika, Director of Biennale Jogja Foundation, who have worked together with Isabel and Alfredo in developing one of their important series, Belok Kiri Jalan Terus, or the Left Wing Project, which is also included in this exhibition. This session will be held in English, and it will be broadcasted live on Museum MACAN YouTube channel. And the speakers will begin the session with a presentation, and later on the discussion will be moderated by Aaron Seeto, Director of Museum MACAN, who will lead the conversation and share the curatorial framework that underpins this exhibition. So without further ado, allow me to invite Aaron to give an opening remark and start the session. Thank you. Oh, please give a warm round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. There is an entire row at the front here, so if you'd like to move forward, don't be shy. So I'm not going to speak for very long, but I wanted to just I hope that you've all had a chance to see the exhibition, but for those of you who haven't, I thought I might just give a little bit of an introduction as to how we have developed this project. Firstly, our esteemed guests, Isabel and Alfredo Aquilizan. I've been saying this over the last couple of days, that if you are interested in the history of contemporary art in Southeast Asia, you will have come across their work. That they emerged as artists at a very pivotal time within the development of contemporary art across Southeast Asia. So very early on in their careers that they exhibited in some very important shows like Traditions Tension in 1996 that was presented by the Asia Society. In 1997 and 1999 they were included in the Havana Biennale. So this is an exhibition which really helps to set the framework for global art exhibition making up until right now, I would say. In 1999 they were included in the Fukuoka Asian Art Triennial, and also in that year that they were included in the Asia Pacific Triennial at the Queensland Art Gallery. So very early on in their careers that they were included in some really pivotal projects. And this exhibition, we have tried to include works from, actually the earliest work is from 1999, which is the toothbrush work which we see here. And throughout the whole exhibition, I think one of the things that becomes very clear is the artist's interest in objects, not just in ready-made objects, but also the ways in which we as humans carry them through our lives, the ways in which they help us interact with other people, and I suppose the social and the political histories that we can scratch away at when we think very hard about objects. I'm going to let them introduce their work a little bit later, but before I do so, I wanted to introduce you to a great friend of the museum, Alia Swastika. The reason why we've asked Alia to join us in this conversation is actually one of the important sections in the exhibition, which is the Belok Kiri Jalan Terus works, were initially, they're firstly presented at Art Gallery, which Alia was the director of some years ago, but Isabel and Alfredo came to Jogja to do the research for that work at the invitation of Alia. And similarly, Alia has been involved in some very important exhibitions in the global context, since the 2000s as well. So how we're going to run today is that for about 20 minutes, the artists are going to do a presentation, and then after that, we're going to have a bit of an open conversation. I do hope to have some leave some room and time for questions at the end. But those of you who would like to come sit on a chair, feel free. There's some here, some more here at the front. Thank you. Over to you guys.
Thank you, Aaron, and thank you, Alia, for it's really a wonderful opportunity to get reunited with you again. And thank you, everyone, for coming. Anyway, I wouldn't go into any much. We'll just go straight into it. So actually, Alfredo prepared 105 slides, but we tried narrowing it down to how many now?
25.
We did our best. This is it. So please bear with us, guys.
And Aaron said, just please have only 6 slides. And I think that's the most. But actually, we've been trying to prepare this morning, but apparently there's something happening with my computer. So we just took some an old PowerPoint that we've used in one of the talk that we've, and we thought that maybe it fits well with what we're showing here and what we're going to talk about in this talk. Yeah. So we'll start with a video that probably give you a bit of our background and also the way we work. As you probably see,
Please play.
yeah. So we always build on site, or not always, but most of the time. But we, as you can see, probably you can see all our children with us all working together. So this is an exhibition we did at the Queensland University of Technology Museum. It's some kind of a survey show of works that we've created in Australia since we moved in 2006. So we're from the Philippines and originally and partly based now in Australia. As you can see, probably there are similarities with Indonesia in terms of topography, the climate, and or even political and even cultural similarities, and the traffic. So this is Manila. So yeah, we've been working with a lot of communities all over, and for the past maybe 15 years or 20 years, we've been collaborating with different communities in different locations.
Oops.
Can we have the next
Okay.
slides?
Yeah, this is we feel that this is important to share with you about, how we kind of started. Well, not really started. We've been working together through, our exchange through our letters. Even most especially when Alfredo would always go somewhere away from us. So anyway, with this one, this was done right after Alfredo finished his Masters of Arts in Fine Arts from the UK. So the only way for us to start understanding again and trying to reconnect for Alfredo to being away from us for almost 2 years, 2.5 years, was through the objects. So what we did was to empty our house and try to install every object in our house and transplanted them in this art space in Alliance Francaise in Manila.
But at the same time also, Isabel posted all the photographs that I took during my absence. So there's this, the home and also me being away, and that's, I think, a piece for our reconnection. Next slides, please. And one of the early works we did was at the Asia Pacific Triennial in 1999, wherein we borrowed objects that the Filipinos brought along with them when they migrated to Australia. Of course, all of us has something with us when we go somewhere else, and it's quite interesting actually to see what objects and to bring for them to remind them of home, remind them of home. And we installed them on a floor carpeted with salt.
Next slide.
And also scent of the sampaguita,
Yeah.
the national flower. In 2006, we migrated to Australia. We decided to migrate to Australia. And I think this is the start of our cardboard project. In this case, you don't see the cardboard because we just removed the cardboard and revealed the content. Actually, the content are the things that we brought along with us, which was exhibited at the Sydney Biennial, and the things that we left behind at the Cultural Center of the Philippines. So we have this simultaneous exhibition during that particular period.
Next slide, please.
And then when we arrive in Australia, friends and acquaintances started giving us things that they thought we need to start a new life. And we end up having this 140 boxes. And we created some, of course, as a new migrant, what we need is a new house. So we thought of like, why don't we create some kind of a house? But as you probably notice, it's a roofless house made out of objects and things. This was exhibited at the Adelaide Biennial. We now work with our 5 children. So probably, as you can see from the beginning in our practice, we've been working with them, but now it evolved into some kind of a family collective coming from our collaborative practice with Isabel and Alfredo. So you want to? Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Can you,
Our art practice is anchored on the idea of co-creation and collaboration by facilitating projects that involve and engage with communities and forging relationships through shared experience. Our core belief is that work created within a context powered by this fundamental produces something that connects with a broader audience without sacrificing the content of integrity of the finished artwork. So we did a project for the first time in working with the Mao Zedong Foundation, the Center of Pompidou. So this was in Chengdu in China. And the title of the exhibition was Cosmopolis, where what's happening in this area is that the development of the changing landscape from the traditional small villages being turned into high-rise city.
Yeah, so as you probably see the work behind us, it's actually still part of the original work that was created in China. So it's actually made in China. And it traveled to Manila, and as it traveled, it takes on the character of the city. And when we reconstructed them here again in Jakarta, it's in a way, I think, taking that feel of the city of Jakarta. You know, I think it's the people that we work with. I think it's that experience that we have every time we commute here back and forth that seeps into the work, I suppose. So I think that's probably the essence of the work in itself, how it evolved, how it changed, how the context of the work changes according to the sites and the place and the location where it's being created. No matter how, well, probably even if it's totally a similar work, there's always that thing that becomes a very specifically, well, a site-specific work. No? Okay, there's a video. Maybe we can skip this one. If okay, in
Time is up.
I think Alia will talk more about this. So we just go through with the images and. Or maybe we can go back to that previous slide. So,
Yeah, our approach is more organic and participatory, and then instrumental or institutional. And it can be seen to contribute to a tradition of art that is socially and ethically concerned, and concerned about the views and ideas and narratives of other people. Our reason for involving communities and audience members to participate in artistic project is to create communal experiences and thereby formulate meaning. So the process for us when we engage and immerse ourselves in the community and involving everyone in the making, that's the very essence of what we do. By forging relationships, the stories that's being shared and the experiences that we are all having with each other. And this is what gives that, I think, deeper meaning for everyone, how our work really is, what it is talking about.
yeah, I think we can just, yeah, usually we just immerse ourselves in the community. And one of the projects that we did for the Thailand Biennial is working with the boat makers in Krabi. They call it the long boat or the Rohang Yao boat builders in the community. So we live with them, eat with them, immerse ourselves, and I think that's what the work is all about. In the end, it's not all about the objects on view. It's not all about the work that's being exhibited, but I think those moments that you shared a space, you communicated, and then you learn from each other. I think for us, that's the art form in itself. This is the artwork that we've created for the Krabi. So we created some kind of a social space for people actually to just be there together, you know. And this is in the middle of like creating another three more islands in addition to those little islands in Krabi.
This is our fun project, one of our fun projects.
So a few years ago in Manila, I think these are also like all over here in Jakarta, wherein we thought of like, yeah, why don't we experiment on something more fun and how to create a work of art, you know, using social media. So we asked all our Facebook friends to steal these objects in the street and bring it to the gallery space during the opening. So, you know, it's really fun because when they come, the only thing that we talk about and the conversation evolves around how everyone steals those bollards. And or even like some of collector friends telling us that, you know, they ask their drivers to steal it for them. So, you know, it's interesting because, you know, if a police comes, everyone is guilty. But of course, it talks about these ordinary objects, or we call it the public sculptures. But also it talks about boundaries. It talks about, you know, properties wherein, you know, you fence in yourself and this is mine and you cannot. So there's a lot of layers actually that you can start reading about these specific objects. So, yeah. Another social space that we've started long time ago are the basketball project. Like in every corner in the Philippines, you...
I think you see it too here. You can see
Yeah,
it
so
some
probably,
places.
yeah. There's this basketball ring that's being, but everything, every basketball ring is totally different. So we thought of like, yeah, why don't we start creating some kind of, a project that talks about these social spaces. Yeah. So it evolved into some kind of like proposal for permanent public art. And then a few years ago, through the art space in Sydney, we
Like sites like this.
we created this work in Woolloomooloo, working with the local community. Woolloomooloo is a very diverse community wherein you have the homeless, you have the migrants, you have the Aboriginal community, you have the REITs, and then, it's very mixed. And actually, there's a basketball court wherein they can actually come together and mix, Like, for example, I think
Russell Crowe would
lives
come.
in that and play with those with the locals. So we thought of like creating the basketball project in Woolloomooloo for people to like in every corner they will come and play with other locals. So, and then we designed the basketball courts with these local kids, and
we took them all to the process of giving them and posting questions about the place where they are and what do they think. So the whole process of how you start sort of conceptualizing, how does it all begin from drawings first, and then they're taken to using the materials on hand that they can use, and then finally doing like samples, like little maquettes. And then finally the execution on them. And the final part, which is the best part, is that they're able to share what they have made to the community by everyone are invited to play regardless of your age, regardless that you are a family, you as a baby. And and also the basketball is so accessible that even the smallest and the tallest can really play. And the best part is that the rules will be amongst you. You will have to create, and you have to kind of like work it out amongst yourselves, how you're gonna work on and play, and it's really just the coming together. It's just amazing when you're watching it.
I think our work is all about also, I don't know if it was mentioned already a while ago, but it's all about creating a space for people to come together and share and engage. And I think that's also very important, most especially at this age in time, for us to come together and forge relationship, I suppose. And I think that's something that what we want to continue with and achieve in our projects. During the pandemic, we started the project because we got locked down in the Philippines, and during the time when it's already the lockdown is easing out, we thought of like looking into the artisans we've worked with before, and financially helping them and also assisting them on whatever they need. So one of the projects we did is creating this mask made out of metal, and we were able to come up with an exhibition, a benefit show in collaboration with our gallery in Singapore, and we were able to come up with some kind of a fund that now actually that we bring back to the artisans. Now we're working with several artisans now in the community, like we have the metalsmith, the tinsmith, the blacksmith, and also the embroiderers, and also the weavers. And I think these are the things that we want to do. Probably the the new trajectory of our collaborative or community-based practice is for us now rebuilding their workshops and in a way equipping them, and also these are dying industry that with the hope that the skill can be transferred to the next generation. So, and then, this is, there are three important threads that bind these works and in our art practice. First is the creation of a situation, setting people to get together and create. Secondly is the process of collecting the personal handmade items and objects that necessitates the collaborative framework. Thirdly, the relationship that transpired in the process. This is the aspect that makes the work more significant and meaningful. The platform for collaboration and sharing provides a stage for dialogue and exchange of ideas, and as a result, new understanding and relationship develop. We would like to share this